I'm going to read from chapter 12 in Cloud Busting. Chapter 12. Sorry. I walked home all alone, thinking, Dave, I'm sorry. That wasn't nice, my mum's advice. Go and say you're sorry. I told her, no, I will not go and tell him that I'm sorry. But it was mean. You should be keen to let him know you're sorry. I dug in my heels, despite appeals, to admit that I was sorry. There's no TV, no treats for tea, until you say you're sorry. I'm sorry now, you rotten cow. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I had a shout. Now there's no doubt that I am very, 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 very sorry. Chapter 13. No big deal. The next day, Davy passed my door without stopping. I ran out and said, wait up, Davy. But he kept walking. And there I was running after him, and he wouldn't stop. So by the time I reached him, I was puffed and annoyed with both him and me. Didn't you hear me calling you? I ranted, between gasps to fill my lungs. And he looked at me, just looked at me. And I spent a lifetime, which lasted no more than a second, thinking about all the things he could say to me in response, in reply. All the things I deserved to hear. But he just smiled, and said hi. I felt strange, embarrassed. I looked away, but didn't walk away. I caught sight of Davy's brake box in his hand. He'd started his brake early, just like after breakfast. What have you got? I asked, digging into my bag for my own brake box. I opened mine up so we could both look and compare snacks. He had carrot sticks, a thick chunk of cucumber, breadsticks, grapes and an apple. I had salt and vinegar crisps, chocolate buttons, a packet of peanuts and an apple. I'll swap you my peanuts for your cucumber, I said. I love cucumber. It's the only green thing I'll eat. I can't eat peanuts, said Davy. I'm allergic. I frowned. I didn't really get it. I'm allergic to peanuts, said Davy. But I'll swap you your packet of chocolate buttons for all my cucumber. 15 buttons, I haggled. The packet has probably only got 10 in it in the first place, Davy pointed out. So I gave him the packet and took his cucumber, and we carried on, munching and crunching as we walked. Don't tell anyone about my allergy, said Davy after a while. Why not? I asked. I don't want to fuss, shrugged Dave. Promise me you won't tell. So I promised. No problem, no big deal. But the promise left my mouth, escaped my mind, fizzled out, sizzled out, and I forgot it. Pure forgot it. Clean forgot it. Left it, lost it, just forgot it. Chapter 14. Big mistake. I told Alex, big mistake, about Davy's allergy. Big mistake. How allergic is he? Big mistake. I don't know, I said. Big mistake. He didn't run away screaming. Big mistake. From my packet of peanuts? Big mistake, if that's what you mean. Big mistake. I was sorry I spoke. Big mistake. I might have guessed, big mistake, that he'd have more, big mistake, than his fizzy feet wrong with him. Big mistake, said Alex scornfully. Big mistake. My cousin Jennifer has an allergy. Big mistake, said Pete thoughtfully. She's very allergic. Big mistake. To cat hairs. They make her sneeze and sneeze. Big mistake. Sneeze, eh? Said Alex, just as thoughtfully. Big mistake. And I thought, oh no, I know that look. Big mistake. He's just had an idea. He's going to do something to Davy. big mistake. Telling him about Davy's allergy was a big mistake. Chapter 15. Too hot. My world was too hot. The country was too hot. The city was too hot. The street was too hot. The school was too hot. The classroom was too hot. My clothes were too hot. My skin was too hot. My blood was too hot. Watching Alex whisper and laugh with Pete was making my insides too hot. Chapter 16. Just a joke. "Hi, Davy," said Alex. "Would you like one of my crisp sandwiches?" Davy looked up from his break box, surprised. He wasn't the only one. I looked at Alex, surprised and suspicious. Suspicious and surprised. Alex wasn't usually nice to Davy. What was he up to? "What flavour crisps?" Davy asked, through a smile big enough to turn upside down and shelter under out of the rain. Alex was talking to him. Alex was offering to share a sandwich with him. Davy was so happy. My insides were about to melt. "Cheese and onion," said Alex. "My mum makes them special. You'll love them." "Yes, please," said Davy. Davy reached out for the sandwich. Alex held out to him. "Oh no," said Alex. "I'll hold it. Your hands might not be clean. You can eat half and I'll have the other half. That's fair, isn't it?" I stood up, my heart dive bouncing like a bungee jumper. "Yes, that's fair," said Davy, and he took a bite, one bite, and he chewed with a smile and swallowed with a frown, and the whole class watched. The very air held its breath as Davy started to cough, and Alex cracked up laughing, and Davy coughed harder, and Alex laughed more. But then the laughing stopped as Davy's hands flew to his throat, tearing at his skin, clawing at the invisible hands, choking him from the inside out. His face erupted in red blotches. The whites of his eyes were turning red. He couldn't breathe. He fell to his knees, his eyes on me. And Alicia screamed. Lucy ran to get help. Claudia started to shriek. Martin shouted at Alex. "It was only one peanut," cried Alex. "I only put one peanut in there. It was just a joke. I thought he'd sneeze. It was just a joke." Davy fell on his side, his eyes on me, and was still. I ran over to Davy to loosen his shirt collar, but it was already undone, and Davy was so still. Mr. Mackey ran into the room, holding a fat, grey pen. He pushed us out of the way and took the top off the pen before jamming the other end into Davy's thigh. "Come on, Davy, please," begged Mr. Mackey. But Davy was so still. Mr. Mackey kept the pen against Davy's thigh for long, long seconds. "It was only a joke, sir," said Alex. "I only meant it as a joke." And he started to cry. Great, big, rolling tears as he watched Davy. "Lucy, run to the office and tell them to phone for an ambulance," said Mr. Mackey. "And for God's sake, hurry!" I turned to Alex and saw myself and hated what I saw. I hated Alex so much, but I hated myself more. And Davy's eyes were on me, still watching me, still